Welcome to an episode of Potion Sword Run. This is Original C Potion coming at you from my living room. So, it turns out that Callisto Protocol failed to meet expectations from the publisher. As of right now, it is easy to say that the game has failed. But before we begin, again, do not like this video. I am still wanted for stealing my neighbor's cats. Keep on knocking, but I won't let them in. Now, I have my suspicion on why it failed, but first let me tell you a little bit about Callisto Protocol, just in case you don't know. Supposed to be a spiritual successor to Dead Space. I guess a few people who worked on the original thought it was a good idea to release a reimagining of it. And according to gamers, it wasn't all that great. It got about 70% Metacritic score, which is okay in my book. But what most people complained about was that it lacked originality. Not only did it lack originality, but it also didn't have substance either. It wasn't really scary. The game would take the camera away from you whenever people would jump on you and stuff like that. It just wasn't an overall good game. Now, graphically, the game is stunning. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to buy it in the first place. But I ended up holding off because of the price. And I think that is the reason why people also held off, was because they didn't want to invest $70 into a new franchise, an unproven franchise. And not only that, an unproven franchise where the original remake, Dead Space, was just around the corner too. So it's like, what do? Do you gamble $70? And that's just on the base game, $70. Do you gamble on Callisto Protocol? Or do you wait for the reviews and see what people say? I think most people like me waited for the reviews and they saw that it was a mixed bag. And they figured, you know what? Why am I going to spend $70 on this game when on Pepsi, when Coke is just around the corner? So I'm waiting for some Coke. And I sincerely believe that is the reason why it failed. Now, according to the developers, it only sold 2 million copies across all systems when they were expecting about 5 at this time. So they had to readjust their expectation, which of course never goes well when dealing with business and corporations. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen next. Now, according to the developers and the publishers, they will be releasing DLC. But even releasing DLC is not going to make up the gap that they need for this game to be successful. So I have a feeling that they're going to get desperate with the DLC and maybe nickel and dime the consumers. But we'll wait and see till that happens. And then when it comes to DLC, the 2 million people who bought the original aren't going to buy the DLC as well. The attachment rate, it just isn't like that. I don't know what the attachment rate is, but it's not 1 for 1. Especially when people are already selling their copies of Callisto Protocol, but trying to sell their copies because they're still trying to sell it for like $5 off. Come on, no one's paying $65 for a used fucking Callisto Protocol, but to each their own. Now, a lot of people are gonna say, no, the game failed because it was short. No. Resident Evil was short. Resident Evil Village, or that just passed, was very short, about 8 hours, 10 hours. And that game was a stunner, and it sold so many copies, and the DLC as well. And people continue to want more from that franchise. But so I don't think the 8 hour, 10 hour campaign was a big deal. Maybe it was because supposedly the campaign doesn't really tidy up the story. So you need a DLC in order to finish the game. So from what it looks like from the outside in, that's not necessarily a factor because the game's already bought at that point, but at least it's going to leave a sour note in people who already bought it. It's like, why are they going to keep on buying DLC just to finish the story? And not only that, people who hear about it, why would they want to buy a game that doesn't really give you a good ending and forces you to buy more content just to get the full story? But I still stand by my initial thoughts that $70 was just too damn much for this game. And that's just the base game. When you talk about adding $10 more for your little knickknacks, and it starts $80 for a freaking game. That's nuts. Now, given that the game failed to meet expectations by more than half, I doubt that there's gonna be a sequel to this. It might just be a one and done. Now, the studio behind this is a brand new studio, and this is their only game. So I mean, if they already have the access, why not release part 2? But if they do, they gotta do way better than part 1. And seriously, they need to check their prices. Like, not everybody's gonna be spending $70 on games that are gonna be risky. I mean, especially when there's so many great games out there that are free, that are cheap, that there's services like Game Pass where you can have so many damn games. It's like, why do you want to spend $70 on an unproven game? And it isn't like it's a big, studio behind it or anything like that. Like freaking Bethesda with their not Star Citizen, with Starfield. We know we're gonna get like Fallout in space. People already have expectations of what the game's going to be, and it's backed by a big old studio and publisher, Microsoft. So like those type of games, or even God of War, Ragnarok, people already know what to expect. It's a proven franchise, so most people are willing to spend that $70 on it because they know they're gonna get a bang for their buck. But when it comes to first time games, or games that are reimagining of other games, $70 is risky. And I'm a freaking gamer who spends money on stupid games all the damn time, but I'm not spending $70 on them. Not anymore. And again, that's just the base, not even including tax, $75. So I don't know. I think that the game failed to meet expectations because it cost too damn much. Simple as that. I mean, I think the game should have just been regular price, $59.99. I think it would have sold way more. It would have got me. It would have got me day one, because I wouldn't feel like the publishers are trying to jip me on something. And a lot of people actually felt that way after the fact. So I don't see good things for Callisto Protocol, even if they release part 2. Now, they're desperately going to be releasing the DLC, hoping to make up some of that money. And I hope they do, because I don't like, people losing money. But when corporations spend $161 million on one game, you gotta ask yourself, like, what the hell are they really doing? I don't know. That's just one man's thoughts. That's gonna do it for this episode. Remember, when she is the fan, run.